So it's recording whenever. And it's on you.
And welcome back, folks, to a very special episode of Jamin's Daily. We are in the year 2023. It has been we're going into our fourth calendar year, Seth, of podcasting, because we had 2020.
Really?
2021.
Okay.
2022.
Yeah.
Now we're going into 2023.
Wow.
Okay, folks. So I feel like I'm becoming a vet, not a rookie anymore.
There you go. Moving up.
And look at what we're from my humble beginnings of doing this when we were in my office, using my Mac, and these cheap Chinese, speaker,
we got all the stuff though. You have everything that you.
We had everything we need just to start it off.
Yeah.
And now here we are with much, nicer equipment.
Yeah.
Nice.
I am actually though wearing the original headphones.
Those are the original headphones from the beginning.
Because I couldn't find the black pair anywhere.
Yeah, those are from the beginning. Well, that's cool. That kind of takes me back. But that's the reason for this episode, folks at home. We are going to do a 2022 in review the year. So we're going to look back in time.
A lot of stuff happened.
Reminisce. See if we can't bring some enlightenment, the mixture of enlightenment and entertainment.
Right.
That's what Glenn Beck says.
In case you forgot what just happened this past year, we're going to bring it back and talk about what we think about it maybe. So, so I mean, I guess the logical thing to do would be to talk about it in chronological order, but I'm sure in some fashion we'll get off on squirrel topics.
Yeah, well, let's start off with something that you know of that I haven't downloaded yet, but it's a puzzle game.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big craze around the world.
Yeah, was that January?
This says, because it says here that the New York Times...
Oh, that's when they bought it, bought
the game on January 31st. And although many players say it made the game harder, it actually remained the same, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I hear, too. So, it's not even a download. All you do is Google it. So you can play it on your browser and your phone or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But it's fun. It makes you think. It's like when your dad does his Sudoku things or whatever. It's just brain exercises or whatever. But apparently the guy who made it for his girlfriend who
That's what it says. It says the biggest puzzle craze to hit the world since, crosswords. Originally designed by one man for his wife's entertainment, the game gives players 6 guesses to determine a 5-letter word, with the only clues being the letters you got right.
Yeah. So you have to start off with one word, right? So everybody has a beginner word. Okay. Everybody has a starter word, right? Okay. And everybody that I know that plays, I always ask them, what's your starter word, right? I've got 2. I use scare, SCARE, and I use audio, AUIDO, you're right, to get all the vowels and stuff to see if they're in there or whatever. Because it's kind of like
technique there.
It's kind of like Wheel of Fortune a little bit, where you got to do that or whatever, and then it tells you if the letters aren't in there at all. If they're yellow, then they're in the word, but they're not in the right spot. And if they're green, then they're in the right spot and they're in the word. Oh, okay. So then that's why you get those 6 chances. You go down, right? And
then you hit a guess. Then you get to guess at some point, or how does that work?
Yeah. You hit enter after each line of word. Right?
Mm-hmm.
One time I got it on the very first try. It was scare.
They finally used the word that you always use.
I shared that everywhere. I was like, when is this ever going to happen again?
Well, that's how I find out about a lot of these apps or these new craze things.
Yeah.
Is through social media because they all design them out so that you can show people.
Absolutely.
You got
like you see in like Facebook feed or whatever, all the little different little colored squares, right? So it doesn't tell you what the word was. It tells you, like, I could see if you did it and you didn't get it till the 6th line, there will be that many lines and how many green ones you got. So if you've ever seen those in your feed or whatever, that's what it is, right? So the first line, it'll show you the colored squares, but not the letters. So you never know. So if you're playing, it doesn't give it away. But it's kind of like what do you call it?
You flex like
a flex.
Yeah, you flexing. Yeah, that, and that's what's genius. It's the same thing when you hear about the social media execs talking about how there's like this neuroscience involved with the likes and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
Same goes for these games in some way. So at the primal level, I guess people like to guess, and so that's no different than the crossword.
Yeah.
But when you add in that element of
showing
you
off,
can flex on
right.
on social media,
Yeah.
it just adds a whole new element to the fun, I guess.
Yeah. And like, if it's somebody that like I know that's really smart too, and like they didn't get it till 6-1, I'm like, oh, dude, it's gonna be, But I guess it's kind of even, depending on what your starting word is or whatever.
Well,
but
sure.
like, if it takes lots of lines or whatever, I'm like, ooh, it's a hard one today.
Well, people have different different sides of the brain or something like that. Some people are more
numbers. You're either numbers or words. Yeah, I always say that.
Okay, moving on. After Wordle, which is a an endeavor, probably pretty.
It was a sensation,
and it's probably pretty grueling at times, I imagine. Maybe not as much as the Winter Olympics.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, because they had been it's every 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was held in February, so we're trying to go chronological.
Mm-hmm.
And the U.S. placed 4th in the medal count. I don't know if we've ever won the most.
Yeah, who knows? It was in China, right?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It didn't say Winter Olympics. This one doesn't actually even say where it was at.
I know, it's been so long.
Somewhere cold.
Yeah.
It was somewhere where it was
cold.
It was
in China, I think, because there's one, they had like the snowboarding half pipes or whatever. And like you could see nuclear plants behind them and stuff, whatever.
Oh God!
And so
the fossil fuel, the coal burning.
They were trying not to show the people being held back at the gate and beaten so they didn't get in, and the smog and COVID. That was another big part of it too.
There was a doping scandal.
Yes.
Also from some young girl. Kamala Valievela or something like that. She was Russian.
Yeah.
And she helped the Russian team win gold in the team event. But it has yet to be settled and no medals have been given for that competition. That's what's so ridiculous and they got to look into. So apparently since the event was kind of somewhat tarnished and they couldn't give medals, everybody else who came in who also medaled 2nd and 3rd place they didn't get their medals either. So they just completely vacated the medal ceremony because of the one team's
that's crazy.
disqualification. So everybody else was like, what?
I know. Yeah.
That's pretty crappy.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so they haven't been given medals.
Well, the logical thing would have just been to kick her out and move everybody up, I guess, right? I don't know.
Yes, but it was some kind of... I'm trying to remember because everyone was all upset about how.
Yeah,
because she's young. That's the thing. She's only like 15, so they always say, "Well, she didn't know.
Right.
How can you blame her? It's the handlers who are giving her stuff." And
I'm sure it's probably true.
It is. I'm sure. I mean, how can you blame a 15-year-old kid?
Yeah, but then also at the end of February was
the baby formula shortage.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Oh, we're getting to.
Yes, we're getting to the big one.
We're almost there.
Okay, the baby
formula shortage was a pretty terrible situation.
Yeah,
for
I know. Because it's just like one company or two, right? One company in the whole United States that makes it or whatever, something like that.
It was kind of, if I recall correctly, there was like 2 or 3 different things that happened all together that really made it bad. So one, there was like a supply shortage.
Right.
And then 2, at one of the main facilities, they had like a COVID
outbreak.
Right.
So they didn't have to do work.
So it was like a number of different things that came together.
Yeah. But if you're the only company doing it and that happens, obviously this is where you find out, right?
Yep. It says on February the 17th, Abbott Labs announced a recall on baby formula produced at their Michigan plant. As one of the 3 major formula producers in the U.S., Abbott's recall exacerbated pandemic-related supply chain issues. And for months, formula was hard to come by.
Yep.
They had to authorize shipments coming from Europe.
Yeah.
To cover the gap.
Now, okay, I know that there are some cases where, right, you just maybe medically can't nurse a baby or they have special diet, whatever. I don't know. I get it all.
Sure.
But there were all those people that were angry. They're like, how am I going to feed my baby? We've been doing it for a million years. We're mammals, and we need to figure this out because what?
Yeah, I mean, surely. I mean, how long? I wonder how long baby formula has really been out and being used the way it is? 40, 50 years?
Yeah, probably since like the
60s or 70s?
I would say so. Yeah.
But
Who knows?
I mean, you don't even have to go back 100 years to
No,
where
right.
there's like no baby
Yeah, I
formula.
know.
You either
I know.
breastfed or there was something else
Yeah.
you would do
Yeah.
for some of those babies. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's the same
I
thing.
remember spending a lot of money on
When-
baby formula.
When yeah, I know, me too. But same thing where I work. Because now they have smart TVs, right, where you write on digitally and all that stuff, whatever, and it'll go out and they'll call. How am I supposed to teach without my smartboard? Like,
Chalkboard?
we've been doing it for hundreds of years too. Anyways, all right,
Oh.
Yes.
So yes,
me.
baby formula was short.
that's right.
It is a very. I would imagine that there were people who had to give breastfeeding a second try, maybe.
Yeah.
Or even give it a
And-
go when maybe perhaps they wouldn't have.
And I know there was lots of like underground breast milk things going too, where they would just pump extra and give it. There was like a bank and stuff. I mean, people came together and they tried to solve it. But
Good
yeah.
for the. You got to if you can't come together for babies, all
Right.
You can't come together for the.
Then we're
well-being-
falling to shit.
Yeah, no doubt. We're really gone to shit. If we can't freaking get milk to babies. Brittany Griner detained.
Is that when it was?
That
Back
also
in February?
that also happened on the same day that the baby formula shortage was
Really?
announced.
Yeah.
Brittany Griner
And she,
was arrested in Russia on February the 17th
Huh.
on charges of having weed oil
yeah.
in her luggage. The saga has played parallel to the Ukraine invasion.
Mm.
There's been diplomatic efforts to get her out, which
Did
they
happen.
finally did on
Yep.
December the 8th. She was traded in a 1-to-1 prisoner swap for a Russian's
Arms dealer.
who's called the Merchant of Death. Right?
And she had some
And she had
vape- weed oil, and a
weed
vape
oil that
pen,
like
a dab pen.
millions of teenagers are walking around in the United States with their freaking vape pen,
Hey.
and we basically
How much?
traded one of them.
How much are you worth? I'm worth an arms dealer named the Merchant of Death.
And this is nothing against Brittany Griner or anything. The fact of the matter is, though, any random person, like, she's just a person. I mean, she's just an American
Sure.
who happened to be there.
Right.
And so she gets caught up in this. And then I never understood, though, how there's this unequal trade that gets
Yeah.
made. It makes no sense. Because then if I'm Russia or any other country, I'm like, let's just steal
Yeah,
low-level,
yeah, right.
random Americans. And then we can trade them off for, like,
Yeah, the Merchant of Death.
the
too.
Merchant of Death. Yeah, his brother or something. His brother's in jail, too. Let's get him out.
The Mayor of Death.
I mean, that was pretty weird. And
Yeah.
at the same time, she's hoping that the U.S. is going to come and save her.
Yeah.
But she was one of these
Right.
typical anti-American,
Yeah.
blame America first types.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
And then who actually comes to her rescue?
Yep.
The American
know.
government had to save her.
Yep.
But if all her thoughts and beliefs about how she's oppressed and nobody cares about them
Yeah.
were true, then she'd still be there.
That's true.
So I wonder how she, like, in her heart of hearts,
Right.
in her heart of hearts, because
Yeah.
I don't think she's done an interview yet.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she's holding out, and then
Yeah.
she's gonna get a huge payday
Yeah.
to be the first one. So
Yeah.
either Oprah or maybe Robin Roberts will do it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if she's gonna have a change of heart about how, I'm proud. Now I'm proud to be an American
Right.
because they
Yeah.
rescued me.
I know.
We'll see how that comes about.
What's crazy though is that it did coincide kind of with the whole Ukraine thing, and it still made huge headlines. Like like you'd think a war, but I guess if she's American, I get it or whatever. But
I don't think two things that happened that helped her or that made it the event that it was is that one, there's the war that's going on. Then two, because she's somewhat famous, she's
Sure.
an athlete.
right,
Okay.
Right.
And she's because of her height and because of her gender identity, here we're
Right.
getting real
yeah, I know.
on par, using the right language here. Her gender identity, I mean, she removed her. She removed her breasts.
Right.
So she's had surgically removed breasts. She's a 6'8",
Yeah.
tall person. I mean,
Yeah.
So she kind of sticks out too.
Right.
So it was one of those deals where it's not exactly incognito
Yeah, I
when
know.
you're in Russia.
I know.
Oh well. So folks, Brittany Griner.
Yep.
Okay, moving on, which
Yep.
we kind of touched on. Russia
Yes.
invades the Ukraine.
Right.
Everyone has been listening to this
Yeah.
for months now. It's kind of
And I think everybody kind of thought, like they're gonna just go in and take over. I think Ukraine held their own easy, but that's cool.
it is two things. Either one, they misjudged the strength of Russia, which is likely.
Yeah.
But then two, I just never understood like the invading army. It has to be like shock and awe, and you just waste the land.
Yeah.
Because if you try to go in, unless you're changing hearts and minds, like you go in there and the people are oppressed and actually are glad you're
Right.
They don't see you as invaders; they see you
Right.
as liberators.
Yeah.
But they see you as invaders, then they're going to be coming at you forever.
Right.
And the only way to then win is to you have to almost like kill them all. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to see that.
Yeah.
So the one thing I don't like, this is where they talk about it here, is okay. So you have NATO, who is providing all the weapons to the Ukrainians to defend themselves.
Yeah.
And so historically, you could look at this and you say, okay, yes, they're fighting for freedom. They're fighting an aggressor. So we want to give them, they're freedom fighters.
Right.
We want to give them the weapons to defend themselves.
Yeah.
But to what degree? Like, do you want to keep giving them weapons until they defend Ukraine until the last Ukrainian? That's what they say. Like,
Right.
you want to give them weapons so that they can continue to fight even though they're going to lose. And then even if they did win, Ukraine's going to be a ginormous wasteland.
Yeah.
So what are they really fighting for? A wasteland that's going to be uninhabitable?
Yeah.
So there's really no winners. Everyone just loses. And I'm sure Russia will be happy with just making Ukraine a wasteland. Like,
Right.
Just
Right, yeah.
destroying it
Yeah.
and creating a wasteland there.
Yeah, because then
it creates a buffer.
when all the other allies leave,
Yeah, exactly.
who's going to come and save them?
Exactly. So where I'm going with this is, imagine if the Japanese had been this way, and it's not exactly
Right.
the equal parallels, but the same thing. The Japanese, when they were defeated, there was still lots of people who never wanted to surrender. They wanted to fight until
Right.
every Japanese person was dead.
Yeah.
Okay, they would rather all die
Right.
than ever surrender.
Yeah.
And so if you had people who were supporting that idea and say, hey, listen, here's weapons, here's money, keep fighting until you're all dead,
Right.
then would that have been good for them? No, I don't. I think history says no.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of the same. I think of it when I think about it, just giving them weapons all the time to keep fighting. I kind of think of, well,
Yeah.
it's
One of my favorite, because I just look at this kind of stuff, whatever. But one of my favorite memes to come out of the whole thing was when Zelensky just recently came over
yes
and addressed Congress, and the meme is him addressing Congress, and it was on a teacher site that I saw, and it was like, so you're telling me this man can address Congress in a sweatshirt, but I can't wear jeans to teach in?
Yeah, I remember they've given him a hard time about that a couple of times, but I guess that's his uniform. I mean, that's what he wears all the
Right.
time. It's that same kind of outfit.
No, and he did a great job of "I'm one of y'all, I'm one of the people" kind of.
Yeah, he's always
that's
trying to make
that's
it
his
that way.
thing
That's
too.
his stick.
No,
Yeah,
I think,
because prior to this,
and I think it's true.
prior to that, well, he can't be around in a suit because at any given moment he's gonna have to bail. He may have to like get down on all fours and start crawling underneath for shelter, or who knows? He doesn't need to be in a suit.
I think it's honest. I think he's honestly like, I am one of you, but he gets the added bonus of I'm one of y'all. I'm a fighter with y'all, and he gets his people behind him and stuff, whatever. So it's double bonus.
It works both ways.
Double bonus.
Yeah, it's inspiring when the people see him dressed in his fatigues. They're like, okay, he's our war leader. Here's a good one. This one shocked the world.
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Oh yes, that was the other. That's what I had on the list. Yes.
Slapped Chris Rock.
The Smith slap.
Yes. What was that real? During the Oscars on March 27th, while comedian Chris Rock was about to present an award, he made fun of Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. In a shocking moment, Smith got on the stage and slapped Rock, later heckling him from the audience and saying to keep his wife's name out of
wife's
his
name out your mouth.
In the months since, Smith has publicly apologized for the incident and has been banned for a decade from the Academy Awards show.
Dang.
Yeah, you know,
Was it worth it, Will?
the thing is, you start because I have some. I have some. What's the word? Conspiracies
Yeah.
and some tabloid gossip on
sure.
on when it comes to Will Smith.
Yeah.
That I think is the underlying, because that was one of the funner or the more interesting thing about this whole situation was that then everybody started to get into like his relationship with Jada Pinkett
Right.
and how she's a man, you know, she's
Yeah.
hadn't treated him right, and that he's a shell of a man,
Right.
and all these other, you know,
Yeah.
and then they started bringing up all these different things that I hadn't really paid attention to or seen myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird. And I always knew something was off there because of their kids.
Yeah.
Both of their kids, and I hate to, I mean, I have kids
Right.
too. I don't know how
I
they're going
know.
to grow up,
I know.
but both of their kids are pretty oddballs in terms
Yeah.
of like their world philosophies
Sure.
and things like this. All right. And I think I'm almost certain there's a very simple answer to how this has all come about.
Yeah.
But I want for you to try to get there, Seth. I don't want to just tell you. I want for you to
What?
think why Will Smith
I
has-
don't know,
has
but
has
I
happened
mean,
to him. Because remember, because Jada Smith basically admitted to an affair.
oh yeah,
She
no,
was
all
with
that
this other
stuff.
guy,
But
and
yeah,
he was
when I watched it, I thought, wow, you know, he's because like if you look at it, right, he laughed too at first, and then he looks over her, and she's like, like you know, every marriage like that, like I don't think that he. You never put it on silent. Yeah, so he was defending her only because she wanted to be defended or something. Whatever. This is a joke. I don't know what. So I have no idea where you're headed with this. So there you
So
go.
I'm gonna
Go
tell
ahead.
you. I'm going to tell you, folks at home. You heard it first here on Jamin's Daily, and I am almost positive that Will Smith is, on the same team as like John Travolta. Okay.
Yeah.
And who's Wolverine? What's his name?
Oh yeah, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Tom Cruise. They're all in the closet. Not so much Hugh Jackman. He's been inching out. But, he's married to a woman who's much older than him. That's what's referred to as a beard. So he has a beard. But he frolics with openly gay men because he's a gay man too. But he's never come out and said it. Hugh Jackman is a gay man. Okay. Second, John Travolta. Obviously, goes both. I'm not saying they're only attracted to gay men, to other men, but I don't think anybody in their right mind in 2023 who's like 30 years old or older,
Yeah.
does not think, when it comes to John Travolta at least, and some of these other
Okay,
ones,
but so
Hugh
why
Jackman.
did he slap him? If
Okay,
that's all the background, why?
He slapped him because, again, it's very psychological. He has been tormented by Jada because she has this dirt and this secret on, over him.
Right.
He can't just leave her when she has all of this dirty laundry on him. And so he has to be there for her, even when she, humiliates him on through social media and things like that, puts him in these people feel sorry. I mean, after that slap happened and people were really looking into it, he started gaining a lot of sympathy.
Oh, sure.
And it wasn't so much sympathy for Will. It was more just animosity towards her.
Sure.
And how she had treated him and kind of forced him to go there. But I think a lot of it stems from the fact that she has been, has gone along with,
Right.
it's with his, what I would speculate is a unconventional.
Oh well, it's absolutely
relational-
unconventional. But then why not just, if it's that bad, just come out. I think everybody have more sympathy for him too after that. Whatever.
Because I want to say Will Smith was likely bisexual all the way back when he was,
I'm glad we're here in Corpus Christi, Texas, speculating.
Yeah, I hope they
Smith
did. No,
and-
but since he was Prince, since he was the Fresh Prince,
Uh-huh.
okay, when he's in his early 20s or however old he was, when he was the Fresh Prince, even then, I'm just telling you, even then, and then he gets with Jada. That's the only person. Like, do you recall of him? When he was younger as a movie star, he fairly early linked up with Jada Pinkett, and that was it. It wasn't like he was linked to 4 or 5 different other stars, other women. I mean, I'm not saying that in and of itself is a damning evidence, okay? But I mean, all these indications is the word. That's what the ancient alien theorists say. There are all these indications that you just can't ignore, okay? And I would, if I was a betting man,
You are a betting man.
I would. It wouldn't be a terrible bet. I just have a feeling that he's been caught up in this.
Yeah.
And back then, he said, "Well, why not him just come out and say he's gay?" Because he kind of missed the boat. That ship has sailed. Like, he needed to have done that 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like, he should have done that when Independence Day came out in 1997 or something like that.
Sure.
When he was a big star.
Yeah.
That's when. But he couldn't.
But can't back then either, because
back then they wouldn't have been accepted. But so why did he not do it? Why has he not been truthful? Because of perception and money and opportunities, and so he kept it.
Yeah.
Underneath, he has never shared it. Jada Pinkett has this on him.
Yeah.
And I think she has used it to manipulate him over the years.
I believe
that is my 2 cents.
About that time too, in the world of celebrity, Pete Davidson got with Kim Kardashian. That was a big crazy thing going on.
It was because because Kanye West is crazy, so he's instigating stuff, and he was
all that back and forth,
going back and forth with it.
I was just amazed that Pete Davidson he's
able to hook up. He
got
got some good game.
That's right.
BD, and he's funny. He's a comedian, so maybe he makes them laugh.
Oh yeah,
I would
funny
imagine.
people.
But I have never, and this is the truth, I've never seen anything that he's in. I've never seen.
No, me neither. Other than Saturday Night Live.
And that's the thing. I don't watch Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And he's been in a couple of movies.
Yeah, but
I've never seen.
No,
any
I
of
know
them.
me neither.
So I mean, I just don't even know the guy. Microplastics discovered in human blood. So apparently, that just by holding plastic bottles and plastic stuff, that they shed over time into microscopic particles.
Yeah.
And that they can get into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And now they're in
nature. Blood. Yeah, sure. They find them all over the place. Little plastic beads and stuff that breaks down and stuff like that or whatever. But yeah, in the bloodstream, that's kind of crazy.
But what if, folks at home, remember, don't forget, you listen to Jamin's Daily. You can find us on YouTube. Like and share. Subscribe.
Yep.
Go to Facebook.
Yep.
Like and share. But what if, this would be cool, if those microplastics that are all over the place, they start entering into our bloodstream. And over time, it causes some type of mutation.
Ooh.
And become X-Men.
Or Fantastic Four, Mr. Plastic, or Dr. Plastic, whatever his name was. Hey, yeah, I know.
You never know. I mean, this is how things are come about.
This was a big year. I'll bring this up in a second because the next thing that I wanted to mention was in April, which is after most of that stuff. Elon Musk announces that he's going to buy Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, big one. Everybody lost their minds there for a little bit.
Epic.
And then he wasn't. He tried to back out, and then he had to.
Yeah, I think all of that was there's some kind of play, like wanting to back out and not backing out,
Sure.
and this and that.
Hey, there's no bad publicity, right?
Sure, because then ultimately it ended up. They just sold it to him. Like
Right.
it was all this.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't. It wasn't going to go through to them.
Right.
Basically, the original agreement. That's what they ended up doing. Remember, he carried that sink in when he got to Twitter.
I know. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Badass. So, yeah, I don't know. There was a bunch of all those people. I'm leaving now. I'm gonna leave Twitter. Whatever. They're all back on it, and I don't personally use Twitter that much. I look at it every once in a while. I use it at conferences. When I go to a conference, because everything's hashtagged and you keep up with that. But like, I have one big conference that I go to in February, and that's about the only time I look at Twitter.
You look at Twitter.
But that's just maybe my age too, my Gen X.
Well, Twitter's become a clearinghouse for news now the most.
Yeah, no, for sure, and just all kinds. Like Cameron, my daughter, like that's her. That's what she does. Everything. Like
I'm thinking about it. I haven't done it yet, but I am an Elon Musk fan. Yeah. I'm not really into EVs. So I don't think I'd even had $1 million. I probably wouldn't buy an EV or a Tesla.
I would take the Hummer.
But I like his swag. I like his vibe. You know what I mean? I like
me too.
I like the whole disruption.
Yeah, I do too. Let's do crazy shit.
Yeah, no, and the whole like the FU money.
Yeah.
You know.
I read an article about him though that totally made sense to me because I am like Elon Musk.
Okay,
if you didn't know. Whatever.
Sure.
But it was about his workflow. Right.
Okay.
So, and there's a word for it, and I shouldn't have brought this up because I can't remember the word. But so you have multiple projects that you're working on, right?
Yes.
At one given time, you're giving your full concentration to that one project. Having the others in the back of your mind and maybe thinking about them, but you're still giving one at a time, and you can switch.
Sure.
And I do that all the time. At my work anyways, and on lots of stuff I do. I get kind of hyper-focused on one thing, but I work on the rest of it kind of on the side.
Sure.
And then I switch focus and I drop the other one and I really don't worry about it or whatever. And so that was about his whole thing. So like when he's at Tesla, he's just Tesla. And then he goes to SpaceX and he's just focused on SpaceX and he's not thinking about Tesla. I mean, he has people to run all that shit, right?
Exactly.
But, yeah, and so I'll have to look up the word and send it to you or whatever. But it was
compartmentalize.
No, and it was always kind of like a made up word just for him or something like that. But
isn't he somewhat on the spectrum too?
Yeah,
right. So I think maybe perhaps for someone like him, it's perhaps easier to focus on something and put the other things in the back.
You put the noise away.
You can do that. Whereas other people get easily distracted. It's hard to. I know me. One of the biggest problems that I have at work is the fact that I have 20 different tasks at a given time that can, in some way, all be done at any time. You know, in any order. I mean, there's some order to it.
Right.
But you could, if the order is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I could do 5 now and put off 1 and 2.
Right.
Or I could do 3 and put off 1 and 2. But then when I'm doing number 2. I'm still in the back of my mind thinking about number 3 and 4. And so it gets hard to, I try to remind myself just one at a time. Yeah. Jamin, just do one thing. Just do one of them at a time. One task, knock that out, then go to the next one and do that one.
Yeah.
Because it can get overwhelming to where you just sit there and you don't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Because that's, I guess, the other bad side of that too, for me anyways, is when I do get overwhelmed, I don't do anything.
Yeah,
I shut down.
People lock up.
So I have to focus on just kind of one thing, and the others give me a break from that when it gets to be too much. So I'm focused on this thing right here. I'm just banging my head against the wall. Okay, I'll switch to this one because I have others to work on, so I can kind of focus.
And that's one reason why having and successful people you have to have an assistant.
Yeah, right.
You have to have somebody to get you going or to do something or to help you do something.
Yeah.
Because even though you're supposed to, if you have
Sure.
a to-do list and
Yeah.
you know you're supposed to do it
Yeah.
and you're capable of doing it,
Right.
having somebody to bounce things off of
Yeah.
makes you more productive.
And that's all, obviously Elon Musk, hires the good people that he can trust to do when he shifts, right? I guess that's any good leader or whatever.
Yeah, you
but
got to have
whatever.
good people. It's hard to find.
Yeah, it's hard to find good work.
It's hard to find.
Go ahead. What's up?
Johnny, Team Depp,
Uh-huh.
Team Heard.
Oh, yes, that's right.
That was Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. This trial, Seth, created a whole cottage industry on YouTube. Like whole channels were created and exploded due to.
There are still TikTok channels that are still showing it today, just little segments of it.
It's
Just little pieces.
yeah, that's so. One of the most talked about trials of the year involved two major celebrities, Johnny Depp and his ex-wife Amber Heard. While the case was ostensibly about libel, Heard wrote an op-ed in 2018 accusing Depp of domestic abuse without naming him. It focused largely on accusations of domestic abuse lobbed by both parties.
Mm-hmm.
It ended with Johnny Depp being awarded $10 million, and they recently settled for $1 million.
Really?
Yeah, they settled maybe a couple weeks ago. They did settle, so she had to pay him $1 million.
Yeah.
And guess what Johnny Depp said? They both the settlement was okay. She'll pay $1 million, and then you know what they always say is like, just because I settled and agreed to pay $1 million does not mean he's still not guilty, or that I'm admitting that I'm guilty.
Right.
Like they put out that message, even though you're agreeing to pay him, to settle. So she paid him $1 million, but within the settlement, it was agreed that the $1 million was going to be donated. So he's not. He won $10 million.
Right.
Then he settles on $1 million, and then he's like, you know what? I don't even want it.
Sure, because
That's insane.
Because then he's like, it's just about me. I was right. Or
Basically, it's worth exactly in this
exactly.
situation. It's worth more than the money.
Oh, absolutely.
But he spent a fortune on his lawyers.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just so real quick, the term for what Musk does is called time boxing.
Time boxing.
Yep.
There you go. We're gonna have to look into that a little bit more. Time boxing. Okay, it sounds pretty impressive. But last thing with
Yes, Heard.
the Depp and the Heard thing was all the coverage.
Yeah.
But I like to talk about the funny coverage, the meme
Right.
style
Yes.
coverage.
Oh no, I love all the memes.
When there was that one part where they were talking about how they're trying to the prosecution's trying to paint Johnny Depp,
Right.
Johnny as a drunk,
Right.
Okay, and so they're talking to him about his drinking habits, and so he would say how he would come home
Yep.
from set, and when he'd come home, Amber most days would have a tall glass of whiskey ready for him.
Yeah.
So he'd come home and drink whiskey, right? And then one time, one of these times, I guess because when you were shooting movies, sometimes they shoot movies for like 18 hours straight.
Yeah.
You're shooting at 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
So he says that this one shoot, he'd get home in the morning and still
Yeah.
with whiskey.
Yeah.
And so they're asking him because they're trying to say, only drunks drink that early in the morning, right? I guess.
Hey, look at all the shift workers that
Exactly. So they're trying to say, well, like at, really at 8 in the morning, or they're trying to paint him off like, why are you drinking? He's like, well, isn't it, isn't it a good time to drink anytime? He's like,
I know.
But like, it was so
Yeah,
genuine. He's acting
right.
as an actor, so that's the same thing.
And he's smooth.
And he was, the way it came off was like,
Yeah.
Isn't any time to drink?
I know.
I'm fucking Johnny Depp,
Yeah.
right? Or the one about the mega cup when one time they
Yeah,
asked
the
him about,
mega
did you
cup.
pour yourself
a mega cup.
a mega cup of wine? He's like, just a big glass of wine.
Yeah, I know.
But all the different responses that they were able to do,
Yeah.
I watched them a bunch of times.
Yeah. My favorite meme, it was actually a TikTok, and it's this guy, and he's all serious. And he's like, so I came across an actual picture of the shit in the bed, right? And he's like, no, I'm going to show it to you, but I'm going to give you time. If you don't want to see it, look away, whatever. And so they smuggled this picture out of Amber, when she did it, and not just did it, but she smeared it around and all that stuff, whatever. And he's like, all right, y'all ready? And it goes, and it's Cowboys sheets on the bed and Cowboys pillows.
The Cowboys. That's a good one. No, there's so many ways you can go with this. It's
I
gonna
know,
live
I
on
know.
forever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The fact that this is where, I mean, is it true? I mean, I believe it. Amber Heard took a dump on Johnny
Sure.
Depp's bed.
Oh, yeah.
That is just so weird.
That's something some crazy, angry
Yeah, but would she have? I
girl
think she must
would
have been like on drugs. Also,
maybe
though.
or something.
She
Maybe,
must
she
have
was
been
fucking, maybe it was dog.
on
Maybe it
drugs.
wasn't even hers.
She'd be like, "Oh no, that was the funny part too." When Johnny Depp was like, "I live with these dogs."
Yeah.
Like it wasn't the dogs.
Yeah.
You know, like I know what their dog poop looks like. Okay, I live with these dogs. It wasn't the dogs.
That's funny.
Ooh, monkeypox says.
Yes, that's right. Because
Well, it's not monkeypox anymore because monkeypox is racist.
really.
Yes, so now
Yeah,
it's
of
called
course it is.
something else.
That's fine.
They renamed it because monkeypox. It's
Sure.
kind of,
Derogatory towards monkeys.
I guess. No, exactly. If I was a monkey, I'd be pretty pissed. I'd be like, hey, what about the chickens? You know, chicken pox okay, but monkeys.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right, and that was like summer entertainment.
that was in May. That was
May.
May.
Yeah, May, but it lasted a good while.
It's still going on, I think.
Yeah, no.
Buffalo. Oh, here was the supermarket shooting,
Oh, yeah.
which is also in May, where that was in Buffalo at a top supermarket. Some dude, but we won't give him any. We don't even.
Nah.
We don't even talk about that one. Oh, this one's even worse. But I guess we'll talk about it real quickly. The Uvalde school shooting. Now that was a big deal.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That one took a long time.
That did.
What I'm gonna say is this: this is the truth. How if you're in law enforcement, I have nothing but respect for law enforcement because we need cops. Okay, so we need to have good law enforcement. But what I think that the Uvalde with that Robb Elementary also demonstrates
Yeah.
is that when you're being a police officer is not like being a soldier at the front lines. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Where in many cases, like when you talk to these medal recipients, people who've been in battle
Yeah.
and they've been awarded for valor, you know, in many cases, they'll say, you know, I was just, you know, reacting to my training. Or
Right.
I was just, you know, I was scared shitless. It had nothing to do with being brave. It had everything to
Right.
do with trying to
Yeah,
survive,
just
you
living.
know,
Yeah,
living
get away
and doing
and-
everything I
right.
can to, I risked my life to save them, but because
Yeah.
that's what you do,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's not the same. Again, the power of self-preservation
Yeah.
is so immense and so strong that even cops who are armed are not willing to run into a room where they know they will be ambushed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because someone was going to get shot
Mm-hmm.
if they just went in right away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so that's what they knew. Right away, they're like, that dude's in there with an AR and he's possibly barricaded. He's lined up. So that first person, those first people who kind of come in to look,
Yeah.
boom, 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 he's going to.
Yeah.
So who's that? Who wants to volunteer to be that
No,
person?
I know.
Okay.
It's
so
just bad.
So no, it is.
Yeah.
But again, that can be like they call them, and the people there, they call them all, you know, they all cowards. And I don't know if it's being coward. It's just being not having enough bravery, or at that moment.
That's what a coward is.
Yeah, well, I mean,
No, I know.
if you're not brave enough,
No,
it doesn't mean
I
you're a
know,
coward.
I know.
You know, but the whole point is this: is also that's when this is why the guy got in trouble. But that's when there has to be a leader who rallies the troops and says, "Listen, guys, I need volunteers. There's 100 of us out here,
Right.
okay, which is also stupid. I guarantee of all those law enforcements, there would have been volunteers who would have risked their lives and said, I'll do it. Let's go. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Instead,
Right.
even then, I want to say is that the commander, and that's what, like the blue, and that's the other thing, the only real criticism that I have on cops too, is like this whole thing like, oh, I need to go, I want to go home and see my family at night. Well, yeah, I know you do too, and I hope you do, but at the same time, you're a cop. This is part of your job. Okay, the fireman doesn't run into the burning building because, well, hey, I want to see my kids when I go home tonight.
Right.
No, you're supposed to risk your life. That's part of the job. Okay, and so, but the thing is, that's not what they want. That's what they want to do. That commander did not want to send his men
Right.
to die.
Yeah.
He wanted, in his mind, he wanted to save his police officers. He was more concerned about them and didn't want to put them in this situation.
Right.
And I don't think people. I mean, someone could try to convince me that I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain that that's what happened. Nobody was there to rally them to say, we got to do this, whether or not one of us dies.
Yeah.
And since that didn't happen, everybody just sat there waiting.
Yeah.
Bad,
terrible.
Terrible. So moving on. Yeah. Oh man, this is all controversial. They put nothing but controversial stuff, which is good things to talk about. Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
Abortion. We try not to talk about abortion when I do.
Yeah, or Uvalde.
Little kids getting shot.
Just mention that it happened.
Right. Dang.
No, I know it's polarized. It's all polarizing, and there,
It really is. The only thing I will say about abortion is that if not everything has good beginnings, and I talk about like Planned Parenthood, okay, because they're kind of like a lightning rod for this debate too, like part of it. And, for those who, whether you're pro-choice or anti-abortion or whatever, because that's the other thing I always say, I'm not pro-life because, like, I support the death penalty and things like that, So I'm not really into the pro-life movement. I'm more into,
yeah.
I'm not like hard, like you said, pro-life, pro-choice. There are other categories in that debate. Ketanji Brown Jackson sworn in as Supreme Court, first black woman on the Supreme Court. Ooh, the former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated.
Oh yeah, with a homemade gun or whatever because they don't have guns.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
That is. This goes to show, folks, if
find a way.
You find a way.
They find a way. It's like Jurassic Park. They find a way.
Something about Choco Taco. Have you heard of that? Must be somewhere else. The Choco Taco, that delighted ice cream treat, saw an end of its production with Klondike.
Oh no!
Announcing it would be discontinued. There was a drama over "Don't Worry, Darling."
Yeah, that's the whole.
Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah, well, he wasn't even part of that little scandal. I mean, not directly. That was between her
and Florence
and the girl that was in it. Yeah, and she didn't want to promote or something, and I don't know. I didn't pay too much attention to it, but the whole big story was that she was with what's his name, Harry Styles, and that's when all that stuff came out about Jason Sudeikis too, so who knows? But I'm Team Sudeikis. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And the fact of the matter is that she left him and her kids for the Styles guy, and now they're not even together anymore.
Right,
they broke up.
Yeah, exactly.
So now she's alone.
Yep, that's what happens.
Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah,
died.
I know.
We talked about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big story though.
It is 70 years. The story really is because it morphs from the Queen. Poor Queen. That's why, poor lady, she gets overlooked.
Yeah.
But the whole Meghan and Harry.
I know. Yeah.
Because I just realized. So he's got his memoir, his biography, or something coming out, and the title of the book is called Spare. Because there's he's the spare. There's the heir, and then there's the spare.
Speaks like
exactly, dude. You're already clowning on yourself. Dang. Like you're already like.
I'm sure he heard it his whole life.
I'm sure. I guess the other.
If not like directly, just like side eye. Got it. But
who the heck? This is where you don't have that problem. I would say in other princely, like other principalities and stuff like that, or monarchies, because like, you look at the Muslim Islamic dynasties, they have dozens and dozens of princes. People who are prince,
sure,
because their line of succession is different.
Yeah,
on how who can be, it can be like the brothers, and it's not just the son of the king and things like that. So it changes it up a little bit, which is not a bad idea.
Yeah,
but I mean, Harry, you're still a stinking prince, bro. I mean, what kind of cut down can somebody come to you and say, okay, you're not going to be the king?
Right.
Oh, so is
Yeah.
everybody else,
I know.
okay? But I'm still going to be the prince.
Yeah.
You know, I just, it says something.
It sells books.
It sells books. But this is what I hope happens, because apparently this is what's going on. Apparently, Charles, the king,
Yeah.
and William, they've cut him off.
Oh, yeah.
They're not.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They don't. They have no interest in reconciling at the
Right.
moment.
No, they don't need to. He's a spare.
He's not. Yeah, and at this point, he's like the spare of the spare. You know,
Right.
Because now he's not even the third in line.
Right.
Because they changed the rules to where a female is an heir before the next.
Whoever's older.
It doesn't matter. It's just whoever's oldest now.
Yeah.
It's not the son. They changed that recently.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I'll be surprised though. I mean, I can't imagine do you think it's gonna last the monarchy to past William?
Yeah.
I guess you're.
And some. I mean, it's lasted this long. And there's still tons of people. I mean, because right, technically, they don't have much. I mean, they have a pull and say and lots of money.
Yes.
But that's about
And
it.
influence.
And influence, sure. I think that influence will wane, maybe. I think there'll still be a place for them.
Yeah.
The influence will wane off because eventually the younger crowd just can be like,
They're not into it.
yeah, it's been 100 years since the queen and king had really any pull. It's not necessary.
Well, see, I wonder if and that's how I think Meghan and Harry are trying to be like these modern royals and stuff.
Sure.
But I feel like William and Kate could try to. They need to do something. They need to come off somehow doing something differently.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep. There's a lot of things happen, Seth, but let's try to get through these a little quicker.
Yeah, we're at 51 minutes.
We're at 50 minutes. Oh, we're gonna kill. It was 1 hour. 1 hour. There was protests in Iran.
Yes.
They have a morality police.
Yes.
And so they're always, harassing people who aren't dressed correctly or too close or, things like that. And so they arrested a 23-year-old girl and took her in custody because she was wearing her hijab, her head cover improperly. She ended up dying in their custody.
Right.
So there's a bunch of
and they all started shaving their heads and protest too. Woo.
Yes. Alex Jones got.
Oh yeah.
He went to trial and they found him guilty for $1 billion.
That's crazy.
Elon Musk buys Twitter.
Yeah, it came around. At the
That
end.
actually happened in October when he actually bought it.
Yeah.
Midterm elections.
The just recently, or what is it? Probably November, December. Maybe I'm getting ahead of our timeline or whatever, but the new rocket just went out to the moon.
NASA launches Artemis
1.
The largest is an unmanned rocket orbiting the moon. It's the first major flight from the rocket's namesake program, which aims to return humans to the moon. There was the world's population, Seth, grew
8 billion.
8 billion.
Yeah.
8 billion people. It says the $2 billion Powerball drawing.
Oh yeah, which I still don't think has been claimed. I saw a story. They were out at the store and they're like, "There is a winner, but he still hasn't come to claim it, or she, or whoever it was."
Oh yeah, that's insane.
But if it was me, I'd be getting all my stuff together. I'd be up at community college learning how to be a CPA, so I could do my own. I wouldn't trust anybody, right? I'd go get a quick associates and whatever, and so I could.
That'd be a good idea. Nuclear fusion, Seth, has been announced.
Really?
But it's only like the net gain of the energy is like super small.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a while before we can.
Here's what I started to mention earlier, but I'll mention it now because I think it's a big part of this whole year. To me, anyways, the nerdy in me is the whole AI explosion that happened this year.
Okay.
Because, they've always been talking about AI, right? They've been talking about it and stuff, whatever. But now there's actually, consumer products that you can use it. Like the Chat AI, the Chat QI or whatever it is, if you've seen those. So it's totally AI, but you can go and ask it, like, write me a Python program for checking my stocks each day, and it writes the program for you. Or all of the art ones too. I don't know if you've seen those art AI things.
I thought you were saying there was one where they write songs, or they can
Yeah.
do music.
Oh,
or
yeah,
they
yeah,
do
they did-
art.
yeah, they
what was
did-
the one where you give them like
You give them a couple pictures or
and then they
prompts.
create- give them prompts and they create a whole.
So it's starting to really be, I don't know, valuable or not valuable, but pertinent, whatever it is, whatever the word is. But I think from here on out, though, it's only going to get bigger and bigger and into more things. Like you'll be able to ask your phone like really specific, detailed things, and it'll be able to give you very
So
precise
it's gonna be like
answers.
Alexa or what's it? But just 10 times better.
Yeah, or just integrated into lots more stuff. So like at first, I think it was in universities, and people were learning and teaching and testing it or stuff or whatever. But now it's going to be in more consumer things, like the picture thing. Everybody's profile pictures now are these, them as knights and stuff, or whatever. I don't know, just that kind of dumb stuff. But the programming and the power behind all of that
Will be
has
will be useful.
all these other little things that they're gonna come. So I think this was the year of AI. That was my
That was the year of the
my
AI.
big,
year
my
of
big
AI.
wrap up. Yeah,
Well, I hope it's
Did you-
2020. So now that we've wrapped up 2022,
yeah,
I just like to say 2022 was I was officially divorced
yep,
in early 2022. Became officially divorced.
yep.
Also in 2022, I worked at a new job the whole year
Yeah.
because I started a new job
That's right.
late last year. So I had worked the whole year at a new job, which was I learned a lot. It was
Yeah.
very stressful, but learned some things. And what else happened? That was really it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about 2023.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be. It's coming. It's
coming.
here.
It's here already.
Whether we want it or not.
And Jamin's Daily, folks at home, Jamin's Daily is going to continue for going on 4 years now. We're going to continue to try to come to you, make videos so that I can watch these when I'm 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And Seth, the next show, I want to come next week and do something like this, but I'm going to try to plan for a very specific
Okay.
topic that maybe
Yes.
we can use the some caption, some
Put it in. Okay.
some
Yeah.
fly-ins.
We just need to know like a couple days before, so we can get all
there's a
that.
couple fly-ins. I'll send
Yeah.
it to you.
Yeah. It's AI is going to help Jamin's Daily eventually. I know.
I think it is.
Maybe
I think
you'll
it
be
is.
replaced.
You know what? AI. You use that. I need an AI
Avatar.
co-host.
Yeah,
You know, where I
right.
can just talk to
Hey,
you, go back
there
and
you go.
forth. That would be funny.
That is fun.
Okay, well, folks, thanks for joining me. Your host, Jamin, host of Jamin's Daily, Seth Kaler.
Woo.
I don't even have to
Always
introduce. Don't even have to introduce him anymore. He's been on the podcast. I don't know, 30 times probably.
Yeah.
So,
The ride or die, baby.
without any further ado, thanks for joining us. Stay tuned because the best is yet to come.